Hello, and welcome to part one in this short series of presentations to introduce you to social selling and the social seller score. This section deals with the why. Why change? Why adapt? Why consider social selling? And why a score to help improve your behaviours as a social seller is important. Let me start by asking this question. Under what circumstances must we as sellers absolutely change? For what reason would we be forced to adapt even if we were unwilling? I'll pause briefly to allow you to think about that question. Of course, the answer is because our customers have, because buyers have changed. As sellers, we need to be where our customers are. And business buyers have fundamentally changed. So let's take a closer look at what is happening with buyers. All buyers are distributed along this continuum where we have transactional at one end and high touch at the other. Transactional customers are best described by Jeff Bezos, who suggests that the best customer service is if the customer doesn't need to call at all. They don't need to email, they don't need to telephone, it just works. At the other end, we have high-touch customers. These require advice, guidance, interaction, expertise. These are customers we typically need to meet face-to-face. We'll need to discuss how our products or services will help them very specifically, personalised to them. And this is where we as B2B sellers typically sit. And because there are two extremes, transaction at one end, high touch at the other, we tend to think all the other cases are distributed in terms of a bell curve. However, in the mobile, social and digital age, this is actually not the case. If any part of the sales process can be automated and the choice put in front of the customer online, then it will be. So transactional is becoming even more so. Digital is causing a hollowing out of the middle, a bifurcation of revenue and customers. It's bimodal, according to Daniel Pink, author of To Sell is Human. It's becoming one thing or the other, according to Neil Rackham, author of Spin Selling. Customers are becoming either transactional or high touch. Selling at the transactional end tends to be led by marketing. It's increasingly digital. The technology is chiefly about dealing with scale. But what about selling at the high touch end? This is not really about scale or volume at all. This is where we see a need for innovation to help manage the quality of interaction. Here is where we're seeing a growth in systems of engagement, such as Artesian. And this is where the Artesian service lives, helping businesses to scale meaningful engagement. And customer engagement is a critical business imperative. Paul Greenberg, author of CRM at the Speed of Light, describes customer engagement as the prevailing theme for business for the next decade. According to McKinsey, it's the number one priority for senior executives in terms of their digital strategy. It's customer engagement, not big data, which is getting lots of column inches. It's not analytics. It's not productivity. It's not that rush to the bottom in terms of doing more with less. It's about customer engagement. In another study for Salesforce, as it happens, 84% of businesses felt that customer engagement would replace productivity as the primary driver of growth. And according to the definitive study on corporate direction, the CEO study from the IBM Institute of Business Value, getting closer to and understanding customers is the top priority for the next 5 years. Okay, so having established the importance of customer engagement and the prevalence of high-touch customers, let's examine some of the challenge that this presents to B2B sales teams. So first off, a small number of high-value customers generating High value opportunities means a narrower portfolio and higher risk. Each campaign really counts. High touch customers have an expectation of more value pre-sales. Everyone in sales, sales support, pre-sales really have to lift their game and make a difference to the customer. It demands highly personalized interactions. We need to know much, much more about the buyer. And this is why it requires professional sellers. This is why it can't be automated. It therefore needs this one-to-one relationship. This is really difficult to scale. And for every business buyer, there'll be 4 more decision makers involved. We're living in an age of coordinated, collaborative, or even consensus buying in organizations. And this means your customers, our customers, will want to be, and they'll absolutely want to feel very much listened to. Okay. What else do we need to know about our high-touch customers and their needs? First of all, the customers' problems are what we amusingly refer to as the 3 Ns. They're knotty, nuanced, or nascent. The period in which their need is recognized is very often it's prolonged because it's complex and nuanced. The customer may need educating throughout that whole needs recognition and buying process. There'll be many very different potential solutions because of the nature of these problems. I mean, wildly different. A business that is causing local traffic congestion, for example, might need to make an investment in local infrastructure. They might invest in home working solutions. They might collaborate with the local authorities. They may even move their corporate headquarters. Very different solutions to the very same problem with very different cost buying profiles. And because of that, it will be highly competitive. And some of these problems will go away and your number one competitor will be doing nothing. But when these problems are complex and they can be solved in many ways, there are many, many more competitors. And it requires trust. These are complex problems and buyers need to be able to trust the individual. They'll want a long, deep relationship with the sales professional that they're dealing with. And we're dealing with high-touch customers that are connected. What do we mean by that? Connected, high-touch business buyers are very well informed. For every one piece of content we can place in their hands from sales or marketing, they'll find 3 more for themselves. And they're online, continuously online. Buyers in every industry, B2B, B2C, research an average of 10.4 sources before they purchase anything. Apparently it's 5.8 sources for a burger, according to Brian Solis, author of The End of Business as Usual. And high-touch connected business buyers are social. 75% of B2B buyers use social media to make purchasing decisions in a study by the IDC, which is bang up to date, 2014. And what's even more interesting is the more senior the decision maker, the more likely they are to use social media. It rises to 84% of C-level VP executive business buyers. And B2B buyers are more than halfway through their decision making before they engage sales, according to the Corporate Executive Board, the group behind the Challenger sale. And this was a study of over 1,500 decision makers and influencers, cross-industry, cross-price point. A similar survey from Serious Decisions suggested the buying process is 67% digital, and this is why cold call rates are dropping 15% every year. Business buyers are ignoring interruption sales and marketing, and they're buying on their own terms. And the implications are very straightforward. Much of the sales process, the traditional sales process, has disappeared, and sellers using traditional methods have less and less influence over those processes. High-touch and connected business buyers are increasingly influenced by each other, less and less influenced by marketing and sales. And what's more, business buyers are less than satisfied with the behaviour of traditional sellers. Forrester conducted an annual executive buyer survey each and every year. And they asked this question: thinking of a typical meeting with a vendor sales team or person, how would you characterize their agenda in your interactions? Is it about you, the buyer, your issues, your challenges, your problems, your opportunities? Or is it about the seller's agenda, their sales agenda, their commission? Sadly, only about 20% of executives feel their sales agenda is focused, of the agenda is focused on their need. The other 80%, to varying degrees, on the seller's objectives. One of the other findings was that almost a third, 31%, felt that their seller was only really waiting for a keyword or two before launching into a prepared sales pitch. It doesn't sound very specific or individual to the buyer's needs. Okay, so what do high-touch, connected buyers want from their suppliers? There's a strong indicator in this, the Edelman Trust Barometer, a highly respected study conducted across 27 countries, 33,000 respondents. The study, now in its 14th year, measures our trust in businesses, governments and other institutions. This year, the study concluded that the quality that we consider most important in businesses, but in which businesses are most underperforming, is engagement. Back to customer engagement. What we want most from businesses, but get least, is that customer engagement. The study also defines the behaviours, the business behaviours, that will improve trust and engagement between businesses and buyers. And they're these four things. 1, that businesses listen to their customers' needs. 2, that they treat their employees well. 3, they place customers ahead of profits. And 4, they communicate frequently and honestly. The key to trust, the key to customer engagement, is interacting with customers. Listen to their needs, make them a priority, and communicate with them frequently and honestly. And this is what social sellers do. They listen to their customers, they place customers at the centre of what they do, and they communicate frequently and honestly. So, social selling is about using social tools to interact with buyers on their terms for deeper, trusted customer engagement. And we can see that what customers want correlates very strongly with social seller characteristics, social seller behaviours. And the 3 social seller behaviours that we understand through the use of the Artesian service are these. Target prospects accurately. It's about listening to customers. Connect frequently and in context, putting customers at the centre, focusing on the customer's agenda. Share more openly. Communicate very frequently, very honestly with customers. Target, connect, share. Let's drill into these behaviours in a little more detail and look at them from 2 different perspectives. 1, what are those behaviours in general? Those things at the top of the page. And 2, how we fulfil those behaviours inside the Artesian service. At the bottom of the page here. Firstly, target. So targeting means an end to interruption sales and marketing. For traditional sellers, cold call success rates are dropping 15% every year. And they're trying to fix this by increasing the number of dials they do each and every day. Social sellers, though, are listening. They're learning about their prospects. They're building a network of those that they can help. They're using referrals and introductions to strengthen their network. And then they're identifying when it's the right time through social signals to reach out to help through transparent buyer need. In Artesian, this amounts to ensuring that sellers have their entire portfolio in the Artesian service, organized into meaningful lists, watch lists. Sellers have thought about how to filter those insights so that they receive only relevant alerts and that they don't miss important insights, but at the same time that they're not overloaded. That they take notice of those daily alerts. They refer to them on a regular basis. And they're laser focused when they reach out to their prospective customers with a prospector session that has identified a small number of companies that will find your approach extremely well targeted. Good use of watch lists, good use of filters, and an even better use of prospector is what targeting is all about. And Connect is about putting the customer at the center of what we do. It's all about relating to customers through understanding, through regular research, a deeper look at social signals, and building a relationship through the insights that have been accumulated. In terms of Artesian, this is going beyond monitoring of your customers through a system of alerts. It means researching the company, reviewing their financials, regularly reviewing and exploring those insights, getting a sense of their markets. In practice, this probably means clicking through on some of those daily alerts, examining the insights more closely, and perhaps marking them and organizing them for later use in bookmarks. And finally, share. As Edelman describes it, our obligation to communicate with our customers frequently and honestly. In the Artesian service, every piece of insight can be shared via email, Twitter, and other professional social networks. And because we're sharing insights that are highly relevant, highly contextualized, it will be of value to our customer. That's why those insights, those social signals, are surfaced by the Artesian service. But they'll also help you as a social seller. They'll help you build your eminence and reputation, attract prospective customers, nurture your existing network, engage active customers. Maybe you're in the middle of a campaign with some of them, and help you to stay top of mind when some of those campaigns are long or perhaps they're delayed. Okay, so what does this mean to the social seller? What does this mean to a sales team today? And whilst it's early days for social selling, there is growing evidence of the benefits. An early trial of social selling by IBM increased sales by 400%. 400%. It involved 7 reps. It was B2B cloud services based in the US. And it involved listening and engaging through professional social platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn. Marketo saw similar benefits, increasing their outbound sales rates 4 times. Eloqua, another marketing company, increased their conversion rates by 25%. Another study by LinkedIn reported that social sellers, those in the lead, create 45% more opportunities each and every quarter. And the definitive study on social selling so far from Aberdeen reported much higher customer retention rates, 15%, and higher quota attainment, 30%. And just one more final point. CEB in their Challenger model, they describe social selling as the #1 factor that improves the probability of high performance. That is to say that the use of social platforms, listening out for social signals and insights is the #1 indicator of higher performance. Okay. So let's recap. Thank you for listening. But business buyers have changed. They're better informed, better connected, and more than halfway through their decision before they reach out to us as professional B2B sellers. And they're expecting deeper engagement. In order to do this, it needs systems of engagement for high-touch customers, not scale for transactional customers. And Artesian Solutions is a system of engagement. And social sellers are being successful. They're targeting, connecting, and sharing. Okay, so thank you again for listening. And please look out for parts 2 and 3 of this short series on social selling and the social seller score. Thank you.